Is it?
Audible, sir.
Okay, very nice. All right. Okay, thank you so much for joining everyone. And let's start our great session. That's the FortiGate Firewall. Okay, so let me share my screen and we have to move forward our class from the last class. Okay, so I will just open it. So in previous section, means in previous class, not section, we discussed about how actual dashboard is going to look like. And in dashboard, we observe different kind of sections. Why these sections are very important, we also explore that. So now we have to move forward and we have to understand a little bit more about the dashboards. And then we have to do some kind of real-time scenario configuration of the FortiGate firewall. So now in dashboard, we understand it's more about the monitoring. Means anything you want to do the monitoring, that is going to cover under the dashboard. Means if you want to check any kind of the network, security, user, sessions, that are all going to part of this particular dashboard. But why there is a network, why policy, what is security profile, what is the VPN, user definition, system, security fabric, log and reporting. So I will explain quickly these all options. And definitely we have to move these sections one by one to just understand the detailed configuration. So every configuration is going to limit on these sections. Dashboard is not going to any configuration. Log is not going to contain any configuration changes on the firewall. So the first and last is not for the configuration. These are the more about the monitoring, doing troubleshooting, analyzing that what happening in my firewall. So this is what it is going to be happen. So if I talk about the network, so network section is basically anything you want to do the routing configuration. Either it's a static routing, whether it's a dynamic routing, you have the SD-WAN related configuration, you want to do the packet capture, any DNS, any interface, multicast, these all are going to be part of the network. Means anything from the routing, network related stuff that is going in the network sections. Even with VLAN also going to part of these particular sections. So we will do how we configure the interfaces, DNS, packet capture, static route, dynamic route, policy based route. This all will definitely cover. But if I'll move to the next section, and that is about to my policy and object. So in this policy and object, we are going to cover the firewall policy, how it is going to cover, means configured, how my DDoS is going to be configured, how I can create the addresses. What does mean addresses? What is the services? Means the internet services, why you use that. And then we have the L4 services. Then we have scheduler. Then we have the virtual IP pool and protocol options. These also we are going to cover. Means actual firewall thing from the policy point of view, we are going to cover in this policy. So one is networking, second is the policy. Now, if you want to do the advanced policy enforcement, you create the policy. Policy is going to be understand your layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, and layer 7 plus content as well. But to apply content inside of the policy, to check that, you have to create the security profile. So in security profile, we have to go and do configuration about your next generation firewall feature. Means how we can do the antivirus monitoring, how we can do the web filtering, how we can do the video filtering, how we can do the DNS filtering, application control, intrusion preventions, intrusion detections, IPS IDS, file filtering, SSH inspection, application signatures, IPS signature, web rating, web profile over it. So these all advanced thing. These are the feature of the firewall. That's firewall is known as a next generation firewall. If I remove these all feature, the firewall is no more next generation firewall. It is going to be a simple stateless firewall, which have the limited capabilities. So this also we have to explore. Then we have the VPN. In this VPN, you are going to learn how to configure the IPsec, how to configure the site-to-site VPN, client-to-site VPN, what is VPN gateway portal. So that is going to cover. And then how to integrate the AD, how to create the local credentials to just apply in the policy. So user authentication, single sign-on, how it is going to happen, 40 tokens. So this is all about the user. Now we have the system. So in system, we can do the HA configuration, firmware upgradations, admin profile creation, SNMP creation, replacements method. I'll explain what is the replacement message also here. We have to understand the feature visibility also. Some feature by default is disabled in the FortiGate firewall. So how we can enable? So it's more about the system. HA is going to be one of the most important parameter here, and also the firmware upgradations. So if you want to do the firmware upgradations, downgrade, upgrade, that all is going to part of this particular system, right? And then the last for the configuration, that is a security fabric. Security fabric is something that is you have to integrate your FortiManager. Just take an example. If you have to integrate your FortiManager, then this fabric is going to be useful. You want to do some automations, integration. This is going to be useful. So we'll discuss a little bit more about it when we move to the advanced sections. But yes, it is going to be some kind of the integration tool where I can integrate like any third party tool like FortiAnalyzer, FortiLogging, Cloud Sandbox, and external connectors. Let's suppose you want to integrate with the Amazon, Azure, Oracle, IBM. So these are going to be useful tool to just do that. So this all we are going to cover in the for the configuration, network to security, and we have to cover each and everything. You don't have to worry about that. And actually we are going to start from the network today. And the final section is the log. Means you want to do the deep dive about your traffic, which is processing from your network. So how log capture is going to happen? What kind of log is coming? How we can analyze the logs? Why the log is not coming? If the traffic is getting denied, what is the logic behind that? So those we are going to understand the log setting and all. So we'll analyze for different log, forwarded traffic, local traffic, snipper traffic, events, antivirus, SSL, means whatever thing you are doing, that is going to capture inside of the log. So this is what we are going to cover. So I hope it is clear to everyone. And let's start something configuration. Is it clear? Any question till here in last 7 minutes, or we are good? If any question, please feel free to ask me. I will clarify. If not, we will start that very basic things. And let me open that my ebook. Just hold on. So I will open my ebook and then I will explain how basically step by step things we have to understand. So let me open it. Okay, so I will go here and I will open this. So you can see this is my official FortiGate administrator guide. Means from this we are going to refer some topic and we are going to understand what is happening there. So very first thing, we are targeting the network. So if we are going to the network, the first thing is coming to the interface. So we have to understand what are the interface type we have available in the FortiGate firewall and what is the use of that interface. We have to understand and we have to do the lab testing. So we have the dedicated lab for that. And I just created a topology FortiGate Firewall Interface Lab. So in this lab, you are going to find a lot of type of interface. You are going to use the VLANs creations. You are going to use the inter-VLAN routing. You are going to use the how we can create the trunk ports and how we can create the access port. You are going to understand how basically we can create the redundant port also, right? So those things we are going to understand. Clear? So let's start one by one, and also FortiSwitch also. So for you guys, you have to always access this firewall from this PC, either this Windows server or might be this PC. For me, because I'm in the LAN, so I can directly access from my browser. So there is no problem for me, but you guys have to access either this management PC or this server because they are going to stay in the same LAN. And to get IP address from the WAN interface, it will get from the DHCP IP address from the WAN interface. So let's understand when the port is going to get IP address from DSCP, what is the routing behavior? So by default, it is going to create one of the default route whenever it is going to get DSCP IP address. You don't have to give the default route. Okay. So we have to sometimes disable that default route. In this scenario, it is not required in this lab. Probably when you do the advanced lab, when we have to do the routing, we have to do the NATing, that time it is going to be required. But let me show you. It's a very brand new firewall. And if I just open it, so there is no password. Actually, it's not password, no password required. Okay. So you see, this is getting automatic IP address. So you guys don't have to worry about anything. Simply you have to go in this particular window PC and you log in from the browser. Right now I'm in the LAN, so I can just simply log in from this browser, or I can use a different browser. So see, I'm in the FortiGate Firewall. Sorry. Let me close this. I don't need the second window. I want to open this one only. Oh my God. So I'll just put the username as an admin, password as an admin. That's all. And I click for later. What next? Very first thing, as I mentioned that this interface is getting IP address from the DHCP. So by default, it is going to create the default route in a routing table. Whenever it's get the DHCP subnet, so it is going to identify the default route. It is going to install the routing table. How you can check that? You have to go in the network. And in network, you can see there's two route. Why two route? Because one is going to come as your default static route, and one is the connected route because it is getting an IP address. So how we can verify? Let me show you. So you just have to go here. और यहाँ पे अगर देखोगे आप, so see, this is my default gateway for the my static, and I haven't done anything. Why it is happening? Because we get the IP address from the DHCP. If I remove the configuration from DHCP to static on this interface, what I can do that? I'll go in the port 1. Right now it's the DHCP. The moment I'll create the manual, the IPs remain going to be same, but default route is automatically going to remove from your routing table. So if I click OK, OK. Now if I'm going in the dashboard and the network, you will see we removed the default route. Means by default route has been removed without any user intervention. So this is the first step. Whenever you have the DHCP, by default it's going to create the routing. So sometimes it's good, but sometimes might be you have to take a consideration. If that default route is not valid for you, you assign default route manually. So for that, you have to assign IP address on the WAN interface or whatever the interface as a manual IP address. Is it clear to everyone? What is the relevance of the DHCP on the interface and how we can just disable that interface DHCP and the default route is going to remove? I hope it is clear, right? Yes, no, maybe. कुछ तो बता दो आप लोग. Guys, am I audible? Anand, Kohli, Anu, Archana, Bikendra, Gopi. Why so silent, everyone? I can see some chat, but nobody is speaking. समझ नहीं आ रहा है क्या? You guys are?
No, I'm okay.
No.
Okay,
Okay, sir.
so
Got it.
कोई दिक्कत नहीं है ना? मतलब you guys are sync, right? I thought
Yes, yes,
Yes,
no.
yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So the task was how to remove the default route. So I believe that's clear to everyone. Now, the very first thing we have to understand, if I going in the interface, this interface can be defined in the multiple format. It could be the physical interface. It could be the physical interface. It could be the VLAN interface. It could be the aggregated interface. It could be the redundant interface. It could be the loopback interface. It could be the software switch interface, हार्डवेयर स्विच, और यहाँ पे जोन भी है एंड वर्चुअल वायर भी है. तो देखो कितनी सारी चीजें हैं. यू गाइस कैन थिंक अबाउट इट. हाउ मेनी थिंग्स आर अवेलेबल हियर? So for interview point of view, you should know each and every interface type. Why you use the physical interface? Why you use the VLAN interface? That's a virtual interface. What is the aggregated interface? What is the redundant interface? What is my loopback interface? What is my software switch and hardware switch? And then finally, what is my virtual wire and tunnel भी बना सकते हैं. That VXLAN is not, VDOM link is going to be there definitely, but Wi-Fi SSID is not required. VXLAN is not required. Enhanced MAC is also not required. So we have to test. So let's start doing the one by one. So physical interface. Physical interface is nothing. This is like physical interface. You can go like this is my physical interface. So already I can go on this interface and directly I can assign the IP address on that interface. So देखो ये physical interface की तरफ दिखा रहा मुझे. So I can simply go and assign the IP address on that interface. Clear? It's very easy. Means any cable you connect on the firewall, that is going to act as a physical interface, and on that interface you can assign the IP address. That's all. Nothing more than that. Now, when I talk about the VLAN interface, अर्चना क्या होता है VLAN? थोड़ा बताएंगे आप? What is a VLAN and why you use the VLAN? सुना कभी आपने?
अच्छा, virtual local area network, which is used to separate a broadcast domain.
Yeah, that's very nice. So very nice definition, Arjun. So we call VLAN as the virtual local area network. बेसिकली हमारे पास एक लैन होता है. लैन के अंदर बहुत सारे हमारे पास यूजर कनेक्ट होते हैं. बट उस लैन के अंदर हम क्या करते हैं कि फर्दर सेग्रीगेट करते हैं एज ए वर्चुअल लैन. मीन्स फिजिकल लैन में तो एक स्विच हो गया एंड स्विच से बहुत सारे केबल इज गोइंग टू बी कनेक्टेड. So those cable are going to be connect multiple devices. But in the company, we have the, let's suppose take an example. There is a LAN infrastructure. This is my LAN. LAN में क्या होगा? We have the switch. बड़ा switch हो गया. This switch is going to 3 department cable. One is might be going to be HR, and one is the IT, and one is the sales. So I can connect directly cable to these PCs, which is going to different department. So they are going to be belong to the LAN network. Overall we call it a LAN network. But when we call the VLAN, so VLAN is the virtual LAN, means we have the bigger LAN network, and I want to just virtually divide this network in the multiple LAN. Means I want to say this is going to be my virtual LAN. This is which is virtual LAN HR. This is virtual LAN IT. This is a virtual LAN sales. So these are going to be complete isolated unit. Means by default they cannot talk to each other by default. अगर कोई HR लाइन में बैठा हुआ है, so they cannot talk with the sales वाला IT से, IT वाला फिर HR से, unless or until we do some sort of the routing. So this is the definition of the VLAN. So similar way we can create this VLAN in our FortiGate firewall also. So this is my FortiGate firewall and I want to create, let's suppose there's 2 PC I have, okay? And one PC is VLAN 10, one PC is VLAN 20. So if I want to make them communicate, so switch is going to be broadcast because this is a layer 2 switch. So ये layer 2 switch हमारा capable नहीं है, can they make the communication between these two VLANs. So what we required? We required the layer 3 device, could be the router, could be the firewall. So इसको हम बोलते हैं जैसे राउटर है, राउटर के अंदर स्विच है, ठीक है. आई थिंक एवरीवन हैव डन. स्विच के नीचे हमारे पास पीसी है, पीसी ए है, एंड दिस इज माय पीसी बी. दिस पीसी ए हैव द 10.10.10/24. This is 20.20.20.20/24. Because layer 2 switch you cannot make the communication, so we require the layer 3 device. Router, firewall, switch. Firewall is also layer 3 device. It's going to work as a layer 3. So these ports are going to be my access port. ठीक है, इसको भी आप access port बनाओगे, right? And this is going to be act as your trunk port. कितने लोगों ने किया है अपनी लाइफ में ये टोपोलॉजी? How many of you all done? Raise your hand, give me thumbs up or write yes sir I have done. Yeah, yes I have done. कितने लोगों ने किया है इन पास्ट। इसको बोलते हैं राउटर ऑन अ स्टिक। ब्रिजेश डन। व्हाट अदर्स? इंटर विलेन राउटिंग इसी को बोलते हैं हम लोग। अर्जुन आपने नहीं किया है? विकेंद्र, आनंद लाल कोहली
किया है।
किया है सर।
किया है ना आप लोगों ने? ठीक है
SBI भी किया है।
यस। सो ये यही हम लैब करने वाले हैं इन Palo Alto फायरवॉल। मीन सॉरी, नॉट Palo Alto, FortiGate फायरवॉल। Palo Alto में हम करते हैं लैब। सो सेम थिंग वी आर गोइंग टू डू हियर। सो लेट्स डू दैट। सो सबसे पहले व्हाट विल डू दैट, आई विल असाइन द आईपी ऑन दीज टू पीसी। ध्यान से समझना अभी आप लोग, एंड प्लीज आस्क मी। कोई भी लैंग्वेज में क्वेश्चन आप लोग पूछ सकते हो, नहीं समझ में आया तो कोई दिक्कत की बात नहीं है। कहीं भी डाउट लगे कि आई एम नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड, प्लीज आस्क क्वेश्चन। अगर विलेन नहीं समझ में आया तो भी बता देना, आई विल एक्सप्लेन अगेन। सो आई विल गो इन द VPC एंड डियर द वर्चुअल पीसी। सो कैसे आईपी असाइन करते हैं, कुछ नहीं, जैसे 10 को आईपी डालना है आपको। सो वेरी फर्स्ट थिंग, बिकॉज दीज पीसी want to communicate each other, तो बट नेचुरल स्विच तो इनसे बात नहीं करा पाएगा, तो यू हैव टू सेट द गेटवे ऑन द फायरवॉल, दैट इज योर लेयर 3 डिवाइस। दिस ऑल्सो गेटवे हेयर। सो इसका गेटवे हम लेंगे 10.10.10.1, इसका लेंगे 20.20.20.1। So these two gateway are going to configure on the FortiGate firewall, and then we will do the communication. So let me do that. So I will go and assign the IP address. कैसे IP assign करोगे देखो, IP 10.10.10.10/24 एंड गेटवे होगा इसका 10.10.1। बस इतना ही डालना आपको। यू जस्ट हैव टू पुट दिस इन बिकॉज दिस अ वर्चुअल पीसी, एंड देखो आपका आईपी असाइन हो गया एंड गेटवे मिल गया। कैसे वेरीफाई करेंगे आप? शो आईपी एंड यू सी the subnet is this one and gateway is this one. So PC1 have the IP address. Now we have the another PC that is going to belong on the subnet 20.20.20.20. So I will go here 20.20.20.20/24 20.20.20.1. This is going to be gateway. So I will go again and show IP. You have the gateway. Now I will go on the switch and I need to create two VLANs. So my one port is going to be VLAN 1, means VLAN 10, that is access port. And another VLAN is also going to be created, and that is going to be under VLAN 20. So chalo, let's do that. So I will go in this particular switch again, and I will go here and make the host name of the switch as a switch 1. Let me make it a switch 1. Sorry. Okay, I think हो गया. Okay, so it's taken the switch 1. Now I'll create the VLAN 10. Another VLAN I'll create, that is this is the VLAN database creation we are doing. So I'll create the VLAN 20. So these two things I have done, means VLAN 10 is created, VLAN 20 is created. What next? After this, I have to go on the interface, and one interface which is going to PC 10 subnet, that is going to be part of VLAN 10, and another PC is 20. So which PC is going to be 0/2? So I will go in the config mode, interface, gigabit Ethernet 0/2. This is going to be switch port mode access, switch port access. VLAN we are going to configure as a 10 and no shut. This is command, you have to do that. Now on another interface, that is going to be this interface 0/3. So in this interface, I will go here and switch port mode access, switch port access, VLAN 20. Now the both port is assigned as a access port. Can they talk to each other? The answer is no. अगर मैं इनसे बात करने की कोशिश करूंगा, so अगर मैं 10 से 20 को पिंग करूंगा, so these are not going to talk. देखो बात नहीं कर पा रहा है, ठीक है, क्योंकि switch doesn't have the capability to make the inter-VLAN routing unless and until वो हमें L3 switch की तरह ना यूज करें, वहां पे SBI नहीं बना है, so they are not going to allow to talk to each other. So we have to pass these two VLAN information. ध्यान समझना अभी आप लोग क्या बोल रहा हूँ. We have to pass these two VLAN information on the single link. So ये हमारे port access port हो गए. This is going to be also access port, but this port is going to act as a trunk port, which is going to carry both VLAN information. That is a VLAN 10 also going to be there, and VLAN 20 is also going to be there. Make sense? So we have to create this port as a trunk port. So I will go on the switch 2 and interface. The interface is gig 0x0. Switch port mode access. Switch port access. Sorry, I make the wrong configuration. I need to create a trunk port. Switch port mode trunk. We have to enable the encapsulation. Switch port trunk encapsulation.1q. That's command you have to put, and then you have to write the switch port mode trunk, and then you have to put the command switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10 and 20 and do right. This is what we have to do that. So now we are good. So VLAN brief, we are good. We created, and if you run command show interface trunk, it is going to allow these two VLAN on the particular trunk port. Clear? I hope everyone clear. It's a very basic thing. Now still these are not going to talk until you go and configure two VLAN on the FortiGate Firewall and you allow the communication to talk to each other. So what I can do that, now I will go on the FortiGate Firewall and the very first interface we're going to create, that is the VLAN interface. So I will go here. After going, I will go and I will create here interface. And now you see there is a VLAN interface. So already selected. I can put the name as a VLAN 10 interface. Okay. So it is just taking 15 character. So let me put the VLAN 10 interface name. Now you have to put the which interface you want to map this VLAN. So basically 4 is connecting toward the switch. 4 is connecting toward the switch. So I need to map the VLAN on the any physical interface. So I will map on the port 4. And what is the VLAN ID? That is a 10. So name is VLAN 10. We have the using the trunking protocol, that is 802.1q. That is a trunking protocol. And that is a VLAN IP. Then what is the IP you want to assign? So we are going to assign as a gateway 10.10.1. So I will go here and assign the 10.10.1/24 and I will click the ping. If you want to allow the SSH, that's management access. We discuss about that. What is the management access? And then you can click OK. That's all. So this interface is going to be created. Now see, under this interface, we created one VLAN. And now if you go on the switch, not switch, this PC and try to ping the gateway should be reachable because we created the interface. So अगर मैं यहाँ जाता हूँ and try to ping 10.10.1, say it is pingable because we created the interface. So now we are good. At least one thing is clear. Now still on this, if you are going to try to ping 20, it is not going to ping well because we not have the interface. So we have to create another VLAN also. I'll go here and I'll create the VLAN 20. This is the my port 4 again. The ID is going to be 20. This is going to be 20.20.21/24. And you can allow the HTTP, SSH and ping. These all are going to be allowed. And now I'll click OK. And if I go here and try to ping again, see my 20 is also pingable. Now can someone tell me if I go in the PC, because we enable the trunking, I just want to check your logic. We assign the IP address here. We assign the IP address here. We make the access port this also access port. This is the my trunk port. We created the VLAN here also, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Now you guys take me, can these two PC talk now each other or they cannot still talk each other? Can you guess? What do you guys think? Yes, Bridges? बात करेंगे नहीं करेंगे?
नहीं करेंगे सर, पॉलिसी की नीड पड़ेगी हम।
So you're saying we need to create the policy, right?
राइट राइट।
Okay. So let's see. Yes, Bikendra.
इंटरवेलन राउटिंग भी तो इनेबल नहीं है सर।
इंटरविलन राउटिंग आपकी, दैट्स अ गुड गेस, बट कौन बता सकता है इनेबल है नहीं है? Anyone can think about, do we have the interviलन routing or not?
इनेबल ही है होगा सर, जब हमने एक ही इंटरफेस पे दोनों बना दिए हैं।
हाँ, so by default it is going to be enable Bikendra, क्योंकि राउटर में क्या करते हो, आपके कनेक्टेड सबनेट होते हैं ना, सो कनेक्टेड राउट इज गोइंग टू बी देयर, राइट? आपका ट्रंक पोर्ट है, आपने दो .1q इंटरफेस बनाते हो, so they have the different subnet, so they are going to connect with the switch have the both VLAN 1020, और ये आपका ट्रंक पोर्ट है एंड बिलो आर एक्सेस पोर्ट, सो ये सारे कनेक्टेड हैं, तो इसका राउटिंग टेबल में दोनों अपने आप आ जाते हैं। सो बाय डिफॉल्ट इंटर VLAN routing is going to enable, सेम कॉन्सेप्ट इज गोइंग टू यूज हियर आल्सो। समझ आया बिकेंद्र, नहीं समझ आया?
यस सर, गॉट इट।
बाय डिफॉल्ट अपने आप ही वहां पे अगर राउटिंग टेबल चेक करोगे ना, देखो, सो ये दोनों सबनेट आ गए होंगे, मतलब राउटिंग टेबल के अंदर इनकी एंट्री तो बन गई है। सो लेट मी शो यू, आई विल गो इन द नेटवर्क।
सर फायरवॉल पे ट्रंक पोर्ट बनता है क्या, मतलब बना सकते हैं?
नहीं, फायरवॉल पे ट्रंक पोर्ट नहीं बना सकते हैं। फायरवॉल इज गोइंग टू इट्स लाइक, एक्चुअली ये ट्रंक पोर्ट ही है, क्योंकि ट्रंकिंग प्रोटोकॉल यूज कर रहे हैं। दिस पोर्ट इज एक्टिंग एज ए ट्रंक, क्योंकि
फिर
दोनों
सर
विलेन को पास कर रहा है, राइट? तो ट्रंकिंग प्रोटोकॉल, लेकिन इस तरीके से जो हम स्विच पे ट्रंक पोर्ट बनाते हैं ना, जैसे यहाँ पे, वैसे नहीं कन्फिगर कर सकते, बट विलेन के ऊपर .1q इनेबल करके इसको इंटर विलेन इंटरफेस बोलते हैं, जहाँ पे हम .1q की इंफॉर्मेशन को टैग करके पास करते हैं, एक्टिंग एज ए ट्रंक, क्योंकि दोनों विलेन को पास कर रहा है। सो टेक्निकली दे आर ट्रंक पोर्ट, बट स्विच की तरह आप ट्रंक पोर्ट कमांड नहीं डालते वहां पे। ठीक है अर्चना?
हाँ।
ठीक है ना? सो यहाँ पे मैं गया तो देखो, यहाँ पे आपका इंटर विलेन राउटिंग इनेबल हो गया, दोनों विलेन का राउट यहाँ पे कनेक्टेड सब में दिखा रहे हैं। सो दिस इज हाउ वी कैन डू दैट। नाउ कमिंग बैक टू द टॉपिक, सो लेट मी ट्राई फ्रॉम दिस वन, कैन आई रीच टू 20? So the answer is no. Why no? Because by default फायरवॉल के लिए दोनों डिफरेंट इंटरफेस हैं। बाय डिफॉल्ट एक ट्रैफिक आपका आ रहा है विलेन 10 से और जा रहा है विलेन 20 से। सो फायरवॉल के अंदर हमारे पास एक कंप्लीट कॉन्सेप्ट होता है जिसको हम बोलते हैं इम्प्लिसिट डिनाय। इम्प्लिसिट डिनाय मीन्स एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग टू बी डिनाय, एवरीथिंग इज गोइंग टू बी डिनाय बाय डिफॉल्ट, मतलब कुछ भी पास नहीं करेगा। हाँ, अगर आपका सेम नेटवर्क में कुछ है, सो दैट इज गोइंग टू टॉक, बट सेम नेटवर्क मतलब कि अगर सेम सबनेट में ही आपका इंटरफेस दो डिवाइस कनेक्टेड है, दे आर गोइंग टू टॉक बिकॉज दे आर गोइंग टू बी सेम ब्रॉडकास्ट डोमेन। बट एक नेटवर्क दूसरे नेटवर्क में जाना है आपको, सो दे मस्ट हैव टू फॉलो द रूल ऑफ द ट्रैफिक प्रोसेसिंग, दैट इज ए पॉलिसी। सो अगर मैं जाता हूँ यहाँ पॉलिसी के अंदर, देखो यहाँ अब नेटवर्क हमने यहाँ कन्फिगर किया, दो इंटरफेस, इंटरफेस पे क्या बनाया हमने, विलन बनाया, देखो यहाँ पे दो विलन बनाया, दोनों पे सर्विसेज अलाउ कर दिया, बट दे आर नॉट टॉकिंग टू ईच अदर। तो फिर हम कहाँ गए, अब हम आते हैं पॉलिसी के अंदर कि पॉलिसी इज ए ब्लॉकर। अब यहाँ पे देखोगे आप लोग, सो बाय डिफॉल्ट एवरीथिंग इज डिनाय, दैट इज ए इम्प्लिसिट। देख रहे हो यहाँ पे कुछ पैकेट भी मैच कर रहा है। सो बाय डिफॉल्ट एवरीथिंग इज डिनायड इन दिस पर्टिकुलर फायरवॉल। सो हाउ वी कैन अलाउ दैट? सो आपको अलाउ करेंगे, यहाँ पॉलिसी पे जाओ और यहाँ पे लिखो विलन 10 टू विलन 20 पॉलिसी। ठीक है? सो देखो इसमें होगा क्या, कि अगर आपने एक पॉलिसी बनाया कि भाई मेरा विलन 10-20 से बात करे, तो ये बात कर लेगा, अगर यहाँ से इसको पिंग करोगे तो इट इज गोइंग टू वर्क। बट अगर विलन 20 से 10 को पिंग करोगे तो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू वर्क। अगर मैं विलन 20 से 10 को पिंग करता हूं तो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू वर्क, बिकॉज वी डू नॉट हैव द रिवर्स पॉलिसी। तो इन FortiGate फायरवॉल, इन Palo Alto फायरवॉल या किसी भी नेक्स्ट जनरेशन फायरवॉल में हमारे पास कभी भी whenever you have to make the connections, we have to make sure we have the forward policy and also we have the reverse policy. अब इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है समझो आप लोग ध्यान से। फॉरवर्ड पॉलिसी का मतलब है कि ये इनिशिएटर है, देखो ये मेरा सोर्स है और ये मेरा डेस्टिनेशन आईपी एड्रेस है। हमने अलाउ किया सोर्स नीड टू टॉक टू डेस्टिनेशन, ठीक है। तो हमारा ये पैकेट वो बोलते हैं इसको क्लाइंट टू सर्वर। सो दिस पैकेट इज नोन एज अ क्लाइंट टू सर्वर। पॉलिसी है हमारे पास क्लाइंट टू सर्वर का। तो ये पैकेट यहाँ पहुंचेगा और ये अपने आप रिप्लाई करेगा और इसके पास आ जाएगा। बट इसके रिक्वेस्ट पे रिप्लाई किया, दैट इज योर फॉरवर्ड पॉलिसी, ठीक है। मतलब अपने आप पैकेट इज गोइंग टू बी प्रोसेस्ड। बट इन केस ये पीसी इसको रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा है, मतलब कि आप यहां से पिंग कर रहे हो, इट इज वर्किंग, बट ये यहां से पिंग करेगा, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू वर्क, क्योंकि ये नया पैकेट हो गया, ये क्लाइंट टू साइट अलग पैकेट हो गया। सो फॉर दैट यू रिक्वायर द रिवर्स पॉलिसी एज वेल। For that, you require reverse policy as well. Then it is going to work. So that's why you require always bidirectional policy if client server want to talk and server client want to talk. समझ आया सबको? क्लियर है कॉन्सेप्ट फॉरवर्ड रिवर्स पॉलिसी का?
यस सर।
ठीक है ना? So we have to follow this structured approach to make sure we have the client to server and server to client. Now, coming back to the next step. How to create the policy. So I will go in the FortiGate firewall. What is my incoming interface? It's not port 4. I will select the VLAN 10 because the logical interface I have to select. And where it want to go? VLAN 20. Source could be 10.10, but in lab I can take any for time being. But if you want to create the source 10.10, so उसके लिए आपको यहाँ पे एड्रेस ऑब्जेक्ट बनाना पड़ेगा। तो कैसे बनेगा? यहाँ पे जाकर क्रिएट कर दो, राइट, एंड यू जस्ट मेंशन VLAN 10 subnet, ठीक है, and here you just put 10.10.10.0/24 and click OK. So now you see this subnet is going to be act as my already ये create हो चुका था, so I just forgot to mention that. So you can see VLAN 10 is there. Now कहाँ जाना आपको? Where you want to go? VLAN 20. Sorry, this is not destination. I will add it here, and this is going to be VLAN 20. So now, what is the schedule? I will explain these all things, but what is the services? I will select the all services. And inspection mode I will explain कि क्या inspection mode का मतलब होता है, proxy base क्या होता है, NAT देखो यहाँ पे NAT भी है. So NAT definitely we not required as of now, we'll talk later. But अभी action accept कर दिया and logging session all कर दिया and I click OK. This is done. Now, once we have done this all thing, if I try to go again here and try to ping, you will see the magic happen. My firewall 1 is able to ping firewall 2 without any problem. But still you go on the firewall 2 and try to ping firewall 1, it is not going to work. Because we do not have the reverse policy. देखो काम नहीं कर रहा अब यहाँ पे, समझ रहे हो आप लोग? So this is not working, man. So to make them workable, we have to go again and we have to create the reverse policy. When this is replying, this is requesting to R20, it is sending the reply. But 20 जब खुद से रिक्वेस्ट किया R10 से, तो ये बोलता है नहीं, I don't have policy, I will not allow you. So you have to click the reverse policy. ठीक है, incoming interface is going to be my VLAN 20 and outgoing is VLAN 10. Source is going to be my 20. Destination is going to be my 10. Services, let's go all. This is leave it all session and I'll click OK. This is done. So now we are good. And after that, if you go on this particular FortiGate firewall and just check, this is perfectly working fine. There is no problem at all. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Please mute yourself, Gaurav. So सबको समझ में आया कि कैसे विलेन बनना है and how we make the communication? Is it clear, everyone, guys? Archana, Gopi, Rahul, right?
Yes,
So
sir. Vishal, I had another question. Whenever we are creating the kind of policies, like you showed, like about the implicit deny. So, so how we come to know like this traffic is not allowed and it has been captured inside the FortiGate? How to view that?
So simple, Gopi, if we have the implicit deny, right? So definitely we have the barrier which is not allowing any traffic and it is going to drop by default. Okay, that is one thing. You can going to get the logs somewhere the traffic is going, but it is getting denied. You don't have anything, but you want to see the live traffic whether the log showing or not, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's my question. Correct.
Yeah. So by default, that log is going to show in the log systems. Okay. See, this log system is showing like all forwarded traffic, but for denied traffic, you want to do that. This particular security policy will not show you the denied traffic log in the log section. If you want to see that, then in top of that, you have to create another deny rule for particular source and destination. Then it is going to show. But implicit deny means you can find that this traffic is coming, but it is not. Probably you can enable this. This will also not going to show that. But log is not going to be visible unless and until you're going to create on top of the policy, which is going to be deny explicit your traffic. But you can see the all live traffic is going on, right? But if you just block traffic by creating the rule, so what is going to be happen? Let me show you. I can just do one thing. Instead of deny, what I can do that. Let me let's talk about this policy. I will open this policy. I'm going to make a deny. So this is my explicit deny here, right? And now if I go and click OK, or another way, if we have the license firewall, like most of the license firewall, you cannot show in the lab, but if the license firewall, that is going to show that also. So if I go now again, and if I initiate the traffic, probably we'll see the log. Let's wait for a while. So you are going to see log here, or might be it is not going to show even the log because that license is not there. So, but let me try.
सर लॉग इनेबल नहीं है शायद एक बार से
किसमें?
डिनाई वाले में सर लॉग इनेबल हमने किया नहीं
लॉग इनेबल फीचर इज नॉट विजुअल, वहां पे है ही नहीं ना, वही मैं ट्राई कर रहा था. ये लॉग वायलेशन ट्रैफिक है, लाइक इनेबल द पॉलिसी, ये इनेबल है बट ये लॉग वायलेशन पॉलिसी है. सो लेट मी ट्राई. लाइसेंस तो दिखा देता बट लेट मी ट्राई वन मोर टाइम. So log and report, go here. Yeah, see, this is here. Now you can see. So आपका
Yeah.
you can see. So आप यहाँ से देख सकते हो denied traffic is there. So
Yeah, because we confirmed in ICMP, but we didn't confirm
yeah.
why. That's why. Yeah.
Okay, let me do one thing, one more try. Let me do that. If deny is showing that also, let me delete these two policies because we have done the lab. So let me delete these two policy and let me try one more time if log is generating or not. So let me click this happy for log violation traffic. And now let me try with the reverse direction. I want to see whether we have the log or not. So let's wait. So traffic is not pinging anyhow, but let me try to see what is happening on the forward traffic. Yep, so it's coming the log, but you have to enable this feature. Even this file, just you have to make sure you enable the log violation feature. This one, if this is going to be disabled, Gopi, the log is not going to be visible. Make sense?
Okay. So yeah. So whenever we are doing some test, so that we have to enable this, then we can know like what is happening, right? Okay.
Right, exactly. You can check that.
Sure. Thanks.
You're welcome. So I hope we understand the inter-VLAN routing and what is the use of the inter-VLAN routing, and you have the good concept. Now let's move to the second topic. So we have the aggregated interface. So what is aggregated interface? We have to do some aggregation on the interface. So we have to create the like LSAP and PAGP, and based on that, we have to do the aggregated interface. So like might be you have the concept of the ether channel, right? And on switch edge, you have created this ether channel. Give me 1 second. So I need to create the same ether channel on my FortiGate firewall, and another ether channel I need to create on my Cisco switch. So that's the logical grouping. We will use the LSAP. We will use the that's the open standard protocol. PAGP basically used for the port aggregation for the Cisco devices. So one side I have the Cisco switch. This is my Cisco switch. Okay. But another side I have the FortiGate switch. So if I try to use the PAGP protocol, it is not going to work. So anyhow, we have to use the LSAP. By the way, anyone know like what is the use of the port channel or might be this aggregated interface? Any idea कि हम इधर channel क्यों बनाते हैं? What is the actual use case?
I know something in the environments like they will use it to get a better bandwidth speed, so
Okay.
that two links get combined and used as it will act as one. So if you have two links connected to the firewall, and if you aggregate those two links, and it's gonna act as one on that.
Okay. If I'm not going to aggregate, then what is the problem is going to happen? If I'm not going to aggregate, can I send
Loop.
traffic from the about two links? If I'm not going to aggregate, can I send the traffic between these two links? Means दोनों से links traffic जाएगा नहीं जाएगा? Let's take
Yeah,
another
still it
switch.
would go.
Let's take this is another switch. Okay. Forget about this firewall. This is switch 2. This is switch 1. And these are PC connected here. Now let's suppose these two links are individual link, and I want to send traffic from the both of the link. It is possible or not?
सर लूप बनेगा, एक ही पोर्ट पे जाएगा, वो तो
Yes.
सेकंड पोर्ट ब्लॉक कर देगा
So
उसको.
this is the loop is going to happen. And which loop? That is a spanning tree protocol loop. So even you want to send the traffic, you cannot send the traffic because at a one time only one port is going to be active. Make sense, everyone? So
Yeah.
to overcome this problem, we have to use, if I want to send the traffic from the both ports, we have to use the ether channel concept. जहाँ पे we have to bind two port together as a single port. And that's the meaning of the ether channel. So let's see how it is going to happen.
लोड
So
बैलेंसिंग भी करता है ना सर?
yes, it is going to be do load balancer also we can. So सबसे पहले हम जाते हैं switch पे. And we have to configure ether channel on the switch. So दो पोर्ट हैं, gig 0/0 and 0/1. So interface range, you can just give command gig 0/0 and to 1. So this is my 0/0 and 0/1. These two ports I have. Now I want to make as a ether channel. So we have to make as a switch port. Let's suppose you want to make the access port. You want to pass the single VLAN, or you can pass the multiple VLAN also. So let's suppose you want to pass a single VLAN, switch port access, and you can just put a channel group 1, 2. And there is an option, you have the multiple option, you can have the mode option. So this switch can support your LSAP, that is open standard. PAGP is just for Cisco proprietary. If you want to make the ether channel between the switch which are belong to only Cisco, so आप यहाँ पे PAGP यूज कर सकते हो. बट अगर आपकी एक तरह से FortiGate firewall है और एक तरीके से आपका Cisco का firewall है, मतलब devices, you cannot use the PAGP. So अगर यहाँ पढ़ोगे आप लोग, then aggregated interface use the link aggregation method, combining multiple physical interface to increase throughput to provide the redundancy. FortiOS support the link aggregation interface using the link aggregation control protocol, that is the LSCP, that based on the IEEE 802.3AD. So आप PAGP यूज ही नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि वो सपोर्ट ही नहीं करेगा। सो इसमें क्या होता है कि हमारे पास दो मोड होते हैं। एक स्विच हमारा ये है, टेक एन एग्जाम्पल, स्विच 1, और एक स्विच हमारा ये है स्विच 2। दो पोर्ट कनेक्टेड है आपका, इनको आपको बंडल करना है, ईथर चैनल बनाना है LACP के थ्रू। So in LACP we have two mode. One is the known as the active and one is going to be passive. ठीक है? So whenever you want to configure this particular LACP, so आपको एक साइड तो एक्टिव रखना ही पड़ेगा और दूसरे साइड इसको पैसिव कर दोगे तो they are going to negotiate, they are going to talk and ether channel is going to form. This is the one use case. दूसरा, दोनों स्विच है, दो केबल कनेक्टेड है, अगेन दिस इज द स्विच 2। अगर मैं यहाँ पे बनाता हूँ ether channel again, if I do the active here and active here also, that's again यहाँ पे लिखता हूँ ether channel formed, यहाँ पर भी ether channel आपका formed हो जाएगा। ठीक है, क्लियर? एक में एक्टिव एक में पैसिव, किधर भी एक्टिव किधर भी पैसिव, तो भी यू कैन मेक द ether channel, both side active you can make the ether channel. But the third scenario, we have the switch, they are again connected with the another switch, and now I want to make the ether channel and I will make the passive both side. So what is going to happen? This will never going to form the ether channel. They will not talk. पैसिव का मतलब होता है कि अगर तुम मेरे पास आओगे तो आई कैन टॉक टू यू, बट मैं तुम्हारे पास नहीं जाऊंगा। एक्टिव का मतलब ये होता है कि आई विल एक्टिवली वांट टू टॉक टू यू, मीन्स आई एम वेरी पैशनेटेड, आई वांट टू टॉक टू यू। सो अगर ए भी एक्टिव है, ए भी एक्टिव है, दे कैन टॉक। एक्टिव है, चलो तुम नहीं बात कर रहे हो, मैं तुम्हारे पास आता, तुम बैठे हो, इट्स ओके। दोनों पैसिव हैं, सो दे बोथ आर कीप वेटिंग कि तुम आओगे तो मैं बात करूंगा वरना नहीं बात करूंगा। तीसरा होता है डिजायरेबल, राइट? डिजायरेबल नॉट फॉर द, सॉरी, ये हमारा उसके लिए होता है, देयर इज ओनली टू मेथड, पैसिव एंड एक्टिव। डिजायरेबल इज नॉट फॉर दिस LSCP, सॉरी माय बैड। ऑन इज समथिंग मैनुअल इथर चैनल करते हो, दैट इज गोइंग टू बी ऑन, सो जनरली हम यूज नहीं करते हैं। सो नाउ लेट मी गो एंड कॉन्फ़िगर इट। क्लियर है सबको ना? सो
बट लेकिन यूज्ड एप्लीकेशंस मतलब जैसे अभी एक्टिव हो गया पैसिव हो गया, कहाँ पे अपन यूज करेंगे ऐसा
बिटवीन
नॉर्मली?
स्विच, बिटवीन स्विच।
स्विच।
हाँ,
अच्छा।
इधर चैनल स्विच के अंदर यूज होता है ना, यहाँ पे हम फायरवॉल के साथ यूज करेंगे अभी। एक साइड फायरवॉल, एक स्विच है, राइट?
करेक्ट करेक्ट।
ठीक है ना? सो what I can do that, so I can go here and make as a active. So अभी मैंने ट्रंक पोर्ट नहीं बनाया, आई जस्ट मेक एज ए एक्सेस पोर्ट, तो अभी मैं एक ही विलन पास कर सकता हूँ। only one villain is going to talk, so let's try with the one villain. Concept is going to same, but you want to see how to configure ether channel on the firewall side. So I will just go here and what is that, active? Okay, okay, so now we done this configuration. नाउ अगर आप यहाँ जाकर एक कमांड चलाते हो, देखो मैं कॉन्फ़िग पहले दिखाता हूँ आपको, शो रन। सो इफ आई गो हियर शो रन, सो आप इफ अगर ऊपर जाते हो, देखो यहाँ पे, तो इफ यू गो हियर, सी दिस इज द वन पोर्ट, स्विच पोर्ट मोड एक्सेस चैनल ग्रुप, दिस वन। अनदर पोर्ट ये वाला है, दो पोर्ट का हमने बनाया है एंड बोथ आर इन द एक्टिव। सो एक साइड हमने एक्टिव कर दिया है, दूसरे साइड अगर पैसिव भी रहेगा या एक्टिव भी रहेगा, दैट इज नॉट गोइंग टू मेक एनी सेंस। सो मेक श्योर कि एक्टिव तो करना ही करना है। नाउ इफ यू रन द कमांड शो ether channel summary, so you'll find the ether channel is down, the port channel 12, SD मतलब देखो, S मतलब layer 2, D is equal to down, so this is down, and these ports both are suspended, means they are not active. So we created the ether channel, but still they are not working, they are down. So what is the status is going to be happen अगर ये सही होता, so this D should be U, this S should be P, means P मतलब होता है आपका U is going to be in use, ठीक है, and P is going to be your bundle in the port channel, ठीक है। So this is going to bundle in the port channel. So now what I'll do that, I will go in the FortiGate Firewall. This job has been done on this particular device. So I will go in the FortiGate Firewall and we'll see how it is going to be configured on the FortiGate Firewall as a aggregated interface. So let me go here and I will go on the interface. What is the interface? That is my 2 and 3. So I will go first 2 and I will, sorry, this is not correct way. I will go and interface and here I will go and select the my aggregated interface. So I need to select the aggregated interface and make as a port channel 12, or you can just make as a PO 12, right? This is what I want to create. Now you have to add the member on which you want to enable this particular port channel. So I will add the member that is a 2 and 3. Clear? In case you want to assign IP address 30.30.30 or 10.10.10, 10 is already assigned, so I will assign 30. Okay. So I will go and configure one of the IP address also on this particular port channel so they can talk. So I will go here 30.30.30.1/24 and I will go and connect the HTTP ping. This all is going to be enabled. And now I'll save this configuration. That's all. So there is no option to define active or passive, but if you go and click OK, this configuration, you can see the port channel 12 has been created and there's 2 port and the IP has been assigned on it. Now you go in the switch and see some log has been generated on this switch. Some log has been generated. So let me verify what happened here. So I will run the command show ether channel subney again and see this is what output I was looking for. My port channel 12, it's showing the SU. That means it's up and working. The both port has been provisioned. So my ether channel has been up and working. Clear? And because we configure ether channel on the aggregation on the FortiGate Firewall. So now if I'm going on this particular PC and I just go and assign the IP address, IP 30.30.30/24, gateway is 30.30.30.30.1, and if I check the show IP, it is there. And now I just try to ping the destination. Let's suppose this is my destination. Say it is pinging. So why it is pinging? Because my port channel and my subnet are the same subnet. So we do not require the firewall policy. We do not require the firewall policy. समझ आया सबको? Everyone understand कि aggregation कैसे हुआ?
Yes, sir.
Everyone understand?
So no rule is required to create for the aggregation, you're saying?
We required a rule. We required a rule if this interface, because this is the one interface, okay? Virtually this is one interface. If this 30 subnet want to talk with this 10 subnet, this cannot talk. In that case, we require the rule. But because I'm just pinging from here to here, so they are in the same broadcast, no?
Same broadcast. Okay.
So they can talk to each other. But if I want to go there, they cannot talk to each other. Let me show you. If I try to ping, let's suppose 10.10.10, it is not going to ping. So it's not pinging. So for that, you have to create a policy. What is the policy? Let me show you. So in this case, your policy is, let's suppose port channel 12 to VLAN 10. This is the policy. Okay. So the traffic is going to come from the port channel 12. This is how you have to define. Now you have to go in the VLAN 10. Source, let's suppose you put is like this port channel 12. Destination you're going to put is a VLAN 10. Okay. It is going to be any. Okay. And this is going to be event all. Now we have the policy. अब यहाँ से if you try to ping, that's going to be change your game. See? Make sense? So this is how policy is going to require. Clear, everyone? यहां तक सबको क्लियर है? एनी डाउट? बताओ। We can move the new topic. Just give me 1 minute.
But Vishal, this is aggregation is only for like we configured with active active or active passive.
This can be configured anywhere, right? This can be
Okay.
configured anywhere. Aggregation is just to group the port to increase the bandwidth. That's all. Nothing more than that. Okay.
Mhm. Okay.
So today, last topic we are going to cover, that is going to be redundant link. So बड़ा ही थोड़ा confusing रहता है कि भाई aggregated link का मतलब क्या होता है, redundant link का मतलब क्या होता है. This is the last topic for today. गेस करो क्या होता है, इन दोनों में डिफरेंस क्या होता है? What is difference between the aggregated and redundant? Any good guess? Any good definitions? Definitely I'll explain, but थोड़ा सोचो आप लोग. Anyone want to say something?
So redundant is going to be like a backup. Like if one get fails, the second link supports the network back.
Aggregate
Whereas
also, if even one is going to fail, another is going to support. So what is the benefits in the aggregate and what is the drawback in the redundant? अगर इंटरव्यू में आपसे पूछा जाता है कि भाई एग्रीगेट में भी अगर एक लिंक फेल हो गया, जैसे आप अपने आंसर दिया, तो भी दूसरा लिंक तो कैरी कर ही लेगा ट्रैफिक ना. मेक सेंस? मेरा
yeah,
क्वेश्चन समझ में आ रहा है ना? तो हाउ
yes, yes.
लॉजिकली यू आर गोइंग टू आंसर दैट? हाउ लॉजिकली यू आर गोइंग टू? अर्चना कुछ सोचो आप भी. राहुल,
Um,
आई कैन डेफिनेटली एक्सप्लेन, बट थोड़ा सा ब्रेन स्टॉर्मिंग करो आप लोग भी कि कैसे होता है, क्या इसका लॉजिक होता है. ठीक है, चलो बताता हूँ मैं क्या होता
रेडिडेंट में सर एच से रिलेटेड कुछ है क्या?
है. नहीं नहीं नहीं, एच इज नॉट रिलेटेड. देखो, एग्रीगेट का मतलब होता है कि यू इंक्रीज द बैंडविड्थ. ठीक है, आपके पोर्ट के बैंडविड्थ इंक्रीज हो गए. सो अगर इस पोर्ट से आपको 200 एमबीएस बैंडविड्थ का ट्रैफिक भेजना है, यू कैन सेंड नाउ बेस्ड ऑन द लोड बैलेंसिंग. जो भी डिफॉल्ट लोड बैलेंसिंग के कई तरह के लोड बैलेंसिंग होते हैं, इट कैन यूज. बट अगर एक लिंक डाउन हो गया तो स्टिल यू कैन सेंड द ट्रैफिक विदाउट फेलियर, बट द बैंडविड्थ इज गोइंग टू बी ओनली 100 एमबीएस. मेक सेंस? बट ट्रैफिक आपको डिस्टर्ब नहीं होगा. दैट इज कॉल्ड एज अ रिडंडेंट, सॉरी एग्रीगेट मीन्स आप कंबाइन कर रहे हो इंटरफेसेस को. अप टू 8 इंटरफेस आप कंबाइन कर सकते हो एज ए वन बंडल. बट सारे लिंक आपका ट्रैफिक कैरी करते हैं एट द सेम टाइम. सबसे आप ट्रैफिक भेज सकते हो, लेकिन अगर उसमें से कोई डाउन भी जाता है ना, तब भी आपका ट्रैफिक जाते रहेगा. वट एवर, अब इसमें से दो में से एक चला गया, 8 में से अगर एक डाउन चला गया, तो स्टिल आपके 7 लिंक अप है, तो 700 एमपीएस जैसे भेज सकते हो. तो दैट इज द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द बंडलिंग. एग्रीगेट. रिडंडेंट में क्या होता है कि अगर दो लिंक हैं, एट ए टाइम वन लिंक इज गोइंग टू वर्क एंड वन लिंक इज गोइंग टू बी एज ए बैकअप. इस पे कोई भी ट्रैफिक नहीं होगा, ऑल ट्रैफिक इज गोइंग टू वन लिंक ओनली. चाहे इसकी 100 एमबीएस कैपेसिटी, तो 100 एमबीएस ही भेज सकते हो. यू कैन नॉट यूज दिस, बट ये डाउन चलाएगा तो आपको बैकअप पाथ मिल जाएगा. दिस इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन द एग्रीगेट एंड रिडंडेंट. क्लियर हुआ अभी?
सर इसमें यदि ज्यादा लिंक हुए तब भी एक ही लिंक वर्क करेगा?
यस, एक ही लिंक वर्क करेगा. एट टाइम ओनली वन लिंक इज गोइंग टू कैरी योर ट्रैफिक.
लाइक मतलब एसटीपी टाइप का?
यस यस. सो अभी देखो कैसे इसको कन्फिगर करते हैं. सो आई विल फर्स्ट डेफिनेटली रिमूव दिस पॉलिसी, क्योंकि इसकी जरूरत नहीं है. तो रिमूव करना इसलिए जरूरत है क्योंकि आई नीड टू फ्री दिस पोर्ट्स. सो अगर इसको डिलीट करोगे ना, तो इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी डिलीट. देखो यहाँ पे डिलीट नहीं का ऑप्शन नहीं आ रहा है. सबसे पहले आपको रिवीजन नंबर हटाना पड़ेगा. सो इसका जब तक रिवीजन नंबर नहीं हटाओगे, यू कैन नॉट डिलीट द इंटरफेस, क्योंकि पोर्ट जब मैंने बनाया है तो उसी इंटरफेस को रिडंडेंट यूज करना है. सो आई नीड टू रिमूव द दिस रिवीजन. नाउ आई सेलेक्ट अगेन एंड यू कैन डिलीट फ्रॉम हियर. So that is the very first step. So now these two ports are free from the port channel. Now I have to use as a redundant interface. So how I can make the redundant interface? So I will go here, interface, and let's create as a redundant. We have the, okay. So we have to select this, and then we have to redundant interface. ज़्यादा हो गया, so just leave it. Now, what is a member again? So this time again, I have set the two members, port 2 and port 3. And I can give the IP again 30.30.30.1/24. Okay. I will allow the ping, SSH, this all is going to be allowed. And I will just go and click OK. Now my job has been done. This is only you have to do that. But how magic is going to, even you can do the 3 port, 4 port, there is no problem. But if I try to ping from this PC to my gateway, should be reachable because यहाँ तो कोई configuration change नहीं किया, हमने port channel बना रखा है इसको. तो port channel is going to merge these two link as a single link. But let's see whether I'm able to ping the gateway or not. This is the first thing. So gateway is not working. So first of all, let's make the port as a my individual port. Means इनको bundle से हम तोड़ते हैं. Let's make it a normal access port because port channel की जरूरत नहीं है हमें. So I can do that. I can switch to again and show run मेरा interface gig 0/0. Sorry, gig 0/0. Show run interface gig 0/0 and 0/1. I can go there and I will go here. So now it's done. So you can check here, show configuration. So now we have the port, but I need to pass the port, the VLAN 30. So let me create the show VLAN brief. I need to create the VLAN 30 as well. So there is no VLAN 30. So I need to create the VLAN 30 here. And after creating the VLAN 30, I need to go on these two interfaces, gig 0/0 and gig 0/1, interface range gig 0/0 to 1, switch port mode access, VLAN 30. Okay, that's all. And let me do right. So now if I just check VLAN 30, we are going to find the two ports are going to be there. So show VLAN brief. We have these two VLANs and we have these two ports. Now let me try one more time on the PPC 8, whether I'm able to reach or not. Why it's not pinging? Let me see. Show IP. We have the gateway VLAN 30 and
सर हमने अलाउ किया है पे इंटरफेस पे पिंग.
let me see. This also should be VLAN 30, na? 30, this interface. Let me check. Yes, you're right. So one interface where PC is connected, that also should be part of the VLAN 30. Let me check. Yeah, this is one thing is missing. So I will go and allow this interface. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 30. And it is going to be no shut. And it is going to be end. Now let me see again what is happening. It is still not pinging. Okay, let me try to see what is on this particular. Okay, so we create a redundant link and this is my redundant link, but my PC is not pinging. Okay, fair enough. Let me create one of the SVI on this particular switch just for testing why it's not pinging. I'll go on the switch 2 and create one of the SVI. So let me just do that. I will go here, interface VLAN 30. I will give the IP address like 30. 30.30.30.100 and 255.255.255.0 no shut. Let me see. I will try to ping from this switch directly. Show IP interface brief. So now we have the IP. Let me try from here because this is directly connected interfaces. So we have two interfaces directly connected to the redundant. So I will try to ping here and I will try to isolate where is the issue. So I will try to ping .1. Yeah, it's pinging here. So I don't know why from virtual PC it's not pinging, but it's pinging from here. So now let me try one more time. It's also pinging from here. So probably we have to create the SVI. I don't know what is the logic behind it because we are in the same subnet. So there is no SVI required, but we are able to ping. So we have the connectivity, but how these links are really a redundant interface or not, how we can verify? We configure these links should belong as a redundant interface, but which link is going to carry the traffic? Which link is going to carry the traffic? We have the both link. Is there any way we can check which link is going to carry the traffic? So even you are going to say here, show system interfaces, you are going to find this is my redundant link. This redundant link having this IP address, but which link is going to carry the traffic? So if I just run this command, just copy this interface information, copy and paste it here. So you see on the redundant link, we have two ports. These are two ports. And these ports are actually going to carry traffic, but any one. So how we can find that which interface is carrying the traffic? So for that, we have the command, you have to use that diagnose netlink, and that you have to put redundant and the name, this link name, which we redundant interface. So we already copy paste. So this command is going to tell you which interface actually carrying your traffic out of these two interface. Just paste it here and now see the magic. We have one port as a slave port and another port also slave port. But which one is actually carrying the traffic? So both are showing as a slave, right? But the port which is having the current slave, can you guys say me which one is the current slave? We have the two ports here which is going to act as a slave. But which one is the current slave? That is the port 2. So how it is get selected? So by default we have the two ports, port 2 and port 3. The lower port ID is going to become as a current slave. अगर मैं इसको डाउन कर दूंगा port 2 को, so by default only one slave is going to be there, port 3, and that is going to carry the traffic. देखना चाहते हो आप लोग? So अगर मैं port 2 को डाउन कर सस्पेंड कर दिया, देखो. So now if I'm going again in the FortiGate Firewall and try to run this command again, so you can see this is down, and now we have the current slave is the port 2. So in short, कैसे सिलेक्शन होता है? अगर ये 3 पोर्ट होते हैं यहाँ पे, अगर पोर्ट 1 में ऊपर लगा देते हैं एक और, so the port which have the lower port ID, that is going to become as my current slave port, means that is going to carry my traffic. This is the concept of the redundant link. समझ आया सबको? Everyone happy with this concept? Any doubt? Any question?
सर ये लाइक एसटीपी में पोर्ट आईडी होता है, सेम वैसे ही वर्क है मे बी.
Same, exactly same.
इसका सर यूज हम ज्यादातर कहाँ पे कर सकते हैं, मतलब इसका जैसे ये है, मतलब किस सिनेरियो में हम इसका ज्यादा यूज कर सकते हैं?
Generally, redundant port is not used too much, okay, but मैंने नहीं देखा है, बट दिस इज द फीचर वन ऑफ द FortiGate Firewall. अगर आपको 2 पोर्ट चाहिए, जैसे फाइबर पोर्ट टर्मिनेट कर रहे हो, राइट, और आप चाहते हो कि हाई स्पीड लिंक मेरी आए यहाँ पे, तो एक मेरा प्राइमरी रहे, एक मेरा सेकेंडरी रहे, तो उस केस में आप ले सकते हो. तो दैट इज पॉसिबल, बट प्रैक्टिकली पीओसी के लिए जो होता है, मैंने नहीं देखा कोई लोग इसको यूज कर रहे हैं.
क्योंकि इसका थोड़ा सा वही मुझे भी लग रहा है कि ये
हाँ,
बहुत रेयर केस ये होगा कि
बट दिस इज अ फीचर वी कैन यूज दैट, बट आई हैव नेवर सीन इन द प्रोडक्शंस. क्योंकि आप क्यों यूज करोगे
But
unless
mostly they will use aggregate, right, Vishal?
yes,
For this
aggregate.
kind of.
Aggregate is going to be used, या नॉर्मल L3 इंटरफेस यूज कर लो, राउटिंग कर लो, एक डाउन गया दूसरा आपका बैकअप हो जाएगा।
Yeah.
ठीक है, समझ आया सबको? अर्चना एंड अदर राहुल, सेब्रो, श्रावण, गोपी, सब लोग को, विश्वजीत, समझ आ रहा है सबको ना? कोई दिक्कत तो नहीं है? चलो, तो आई बिलीव वी आर गुड फॉर टुडे। आई वांट टू कवर वन मोर टॉपिक बट फिर लेट हो जाएगा, सो लेट्स टेक अ गुड रेस्ट, ओके, एंड लेट्स कनेक्ट ऑन द फ्राइडे। ठीक है गाइज, थैंक यू।